as the hills of West Virginia resound with the sound of Golden Blue football.
Almost heaven, West Virginia.
Now let's bring on the Mountaineers. Goes around about the 15 to 10 to 5. A touchdown, West Virginia. He did it.
He did it. Patrick White. Touchdown, Tay Von Austin.
But Don Nehlen's Mountaineers enjoy walking in where angels feared to tread.
I think you think that these guys are going to fall over dead for you. Well, I got news for you. They're going to punch you right in the mouth. It's Mountaineer pride.
Nothing cheap, nothing dirty, but West Virginia football. West Virginia football.
We've no doubt tonight they shouldn't have played the old Golden Blue. Not this night.
They've done it. They've done it. A perfect season. And the Mountaineers, for the first time in history, undefeated and untied.
Don Nehlen and his Mountaineers, for the second time, have finished a regular season with an unblemished mark.
Ain't no stopping the Golden Blue.
And now recorded from the CRW studios in Almost Heaven, West Virginia, it's the Country Roads Webcast with your host, Jordan Cruz.
What's going on, Mountaineer Nation? Welcome back into the CRW podcast here for episode 235. West Virginia's off the bye week, and we're ready to provide our preview and predictions for the upcoming game against UCF as West Virginia comes back from the bye week and hits the road to head to Orlando this Saturday, seeking their first Big 12 win. Actually, both of these teams in this game seeking their first Big 12 win, so somebody's going to get it on Saturday. We're hoping it's West Virginia. We'll let you know our thoughts on the matchups and if we feel that's going to be the case here towards the tail end of the episode. And joining me to help me do all of those things, of course, my two great co-hosts. We've got Steven.
What's going on, everybody?
And Brad.
What up, everyone?
All right, gentlemen. So West Virginia coming off the bye week, which, I think the positive side of that is hopefully it's a different recipe now coming off bye weeks than it was, the past 6 years. I think when you look at Rich Rod's record, it's really good coming off bye weeks. I believe it was Touchdown City Show where I heard it that it's something like 21-7, something along those lines coming off a bye week. And now West Virginia gets to be the team that comes off a bye week, whereas UCF played a game last week. We were victims of that for our first Big 12 game when Kansas was coming off a bye and we had to play the backyard brawl prior. Now UCF's played a couple of games and we're coming off a bye week. So now we get to be the other side of that coin, and hopefully that pays off for us. But before we get into the matchups and stuff, we'll just talk a little bit about the game in general. Of course, West Virginia leads the all-time series 4-0, 2-0 in the two Big 12 matchups that they've had. West Virginia comes in at 2-4, 0-3 in the conference. UCF also 0-3 in the conference, as I mentioned there momentarily. 3-3 overall. Game, of course, coming up Saturday, October 18th, 1 p.m. kick on TNT and streaming on HBO Max there for a change. So a little bit different presentation for this one. And I think the big storyline everybody will be talking about is the head coaching matchup between Rich Rod coming back for his second stint at WVU and Scott Frost coming back for his second stint at UCF. But opening thoughts before we get into the matchups on each side. How are you feeling about this game? West Virginia coming off the bye week. Just anything you got there. What are your thoughts, Stephen?
Before last weekend, I think I felt a little bit more confident. But after watching UCF play their game, I think, I don't know, I got a little bit more question marks, especially seeing the news about Ty Edwards not being on campus. There's a lot of questions that I have involving in that specifically. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I think it's a 50-50 game. I think it's a game that West Virginia could win, but I think it's a game that West Virginia is definitely going to have to come to play on the road. And it might not be what I would call a tough environment, but the bounce house is, notably tough to play in. So I don't know with them having did they win last weekend? I never did.
No, they lost 20-11, coming off 20-11 loss to Cincinnati. Of course, Cincinnati's 5-1 now. So, yeah.
They looked like they had, potential to win that game. They're looking for their
first Big 12 win just like us.
Yeah. I remember watching them, but I just didn't watch the end of it.
So we'll see. We'll see how it pans out. Like I said, the bounce house, not an easy place to play. I agree with you on that. And they're going to be motivated, looking for their first win. We're motivated, looking for our first win as well. So I think it'll be two teams playing hard in this game on Saturday for sure. Brad, what about you? Opening thoughts on this matchup, West Virginia and UCF?
Yeah, man. I honestly just looking at it, coming off a bye week, it's nice hearing a stat that we're coming into bye weeks feeling confident. Or at least Rich Rod is. That is something that we've struggled with here, the last few years, and that's really where I go to this. Again, I'm staying consistent here with just the feelings on it. Is that you just got to be. Do I feel confident walking into any game right now? No. It doesn't matter who it is, because our team is just so unknown and what we got is so unknown. You got to think that you're going to catch a break at some point in time or another. And again, it just feels very West Virginian, something. We're going to win. We're going to at least win one we shouldn't, and that hasn't happened yet. Unless you count Pitt. That, I guess you could say that was the one win that you got that you didn't expect at this point. So, yeah, man, just trying to stay cautiously optimistic and hope that we see some improvement off of a bye week. Honestly, would just be the goal.
I agree with you, man. And that's what I'm hoping for also. Hoping for the tide to turn a little bit there and see some positivity off of bye weeks. Like you said, the previous regime, that was an area where we unfortunately struggled, was coming off a bye week. So hopefully we take advantage of this, especially being the only team coming off the bye week. Because like we said, as Steven mentioned there, UCF had to play last week. And before we get into the matchups here, I do want to touch on the injury news a little bit there, as Steven brushed up against a little bit there with the Ty Edwards situation. Went to Alabama to see a specialist. That hip thing is really a lingering injury. It turns out to be a lot worse than they originally expected, it sounds like. From what I'm understanding, I'm not expecting to see him play in this upcoming game and might be out still for a little bit more moving forward, unfortunately. So we're going to see a lot of Dior Hubbard. He'll probably get the start. Sensor Bowers, hopefully back healthy. Clay Ash, and then maybe finally see Cannon Katzer as well as far as running backs are concerned. Receiver-wise, Man Singleton no longer with the team. We know that, so it'll be Rodney Gallagher and Gerard Bowie in the slots. Quarterback, we know Nico out for the year. Jalen Henderson sounds like he's doubtful. It'll be Khalil Wilkins and Scotty Fox we primarily see. Max Brown is listed as probable at the time that we're recording this episode. And then as far as the defense, I think the one piece of injury news that came out was linebacker Ashton Woods, unfortunately out for the year, joining the likes of Jaden Bray and Jaheim White on that side of things. So a little bit of an injury update there before we get into the matchups. But any other thoughts you guys want to touch on here before we dive into the matchups on each side of the ball?
I don't know. I do think that I'm a little bit more excited going into the second half of the season with the mindset that, we talked about that before, Rich Rodriguez has a history of his teams playing better in the second half of the season. So,
yeah.
And, listening to his press conference earlier.
I just said, the second half of the season is where he shined.
Yeah. Listening to his press conference earlier, he got me a little bit more excited because he's like, I haven't given up. He said, I still believe in these guys. I'm admittedly so. I'm guilty of giving up on them. Somewhat so at this point in the season. So he lit a fire under me. I'm hoping that they can make it a little bit more exciting. And I don't mean to say that I've given up on them in such a negative way. I just, like I've said before, I can see that this offensive line is young and they're very pieced together at this point, and they've got a lot of work together, or a lot of work to do.
You just have a coach where you can trust that you can plan around that, right? Like it's like, at some point in time, you just know what you're working with, and you can at least scheme up one good one to catch somebody off guard.
Yeah.
So that's just like what you're looking for. It's like, can we even do that? Like, can we just like surprise somebody for once?
I'm hoping so, man. I'm hoping so. I think if that's, speaking of positivity, to me, when I look at this game, you compare it to the other remaining games on the schedule, which West Virginia played 6, had their bye week, has 6 more to go. I think that this is probably your most winnable opportunity. I know it's on the road, so that throws a little wrench into things there, but as far as like quality of team in the remaining games, this is probably the one that you match up the best against, looking at it, which we'll dive into that momentarily when we take a look at each side of the ball. But I think that this is maybe your best chance right here to get another win. And if you get a win here coming out of the bye week, then that leads into what Steven's talking about there with the momentum, and one thing can lead to another. Those things can kind of snowball, and maybe it leads to another win or so where you catch somebody off guard, like Brad mentioned earlier in the episode. But I think it's got to start here coming off the bye week. You got to try and get this one if you want that to happen. I think you got to get this one.
Yeah, no doubt.
It would help immensely, but I still say you beat Pitt. We talk about year zero stuff, so
Anything else is just icing on the cake, cherry on top, whatever you want to call it. So that's for sure. We did get that big win. That's what mattered.
Yeah, because we gotta win 4 out of the next 6 games, right?
Four out of our final 6. Yeah.
Yeah.
We want to get to a bowl game, so it's.
So I don't know if we're playing for that. You know what I'm saying? But
so you're telling me there's a chance?
Man, I've seen miracles happen before.
Yeah, you never know, right?
Hey, you want to know what? You want to know the better news? October 26th is the exhibition game. For WVU basketball, and the first real game is November 4th. So, there's at least that
snuck up on us that quick.
Yeah,
yeah. We got to get a basketball preview out at some point. Yeah, here in the near future, and we'll try and cover that on some live streams as well. So be sure you guys are subscribed to the YouTube channel to catch some of our basketball coverage this season, which will crank up after the first of the year. But as far as this game is concerned, kind of gave our opening thoughts there, kind of the broad side of things. Let's get down into the nitty-gritty now. Let's talk about each side of the ball here. Let's start off here talking about the UCF offense versus the West Virginia defense. When the Knights have the football, they'll be led there by offensive coordinator Steve Cooper in his first season there under Scott Frost. They're currently averaging 28 points per game. They're rushing for over 200 yards per game. That's been their bread and butter, and averaging over 420 total yards per game. Quarterback, currently kind of a little bit of a question mark. Their starter would be Taven Jackson, but he has been injured here recently. He leads the team with 900 yards passing and 3 touchdowns. But since his injury, it's been Marshall transfer, Cam Fancher actually, who's kind of been the guy they've been rolling with. He played last week, had a pretty good game, 220 passing yards and 108 rushing yards, but has yet to throw a passing touchdown this season, and I think his completion rating's right around 55%, so definitely more of a threat with his legs, it seemed like, but coming off, a really good game there against a good team in Cincinnati. The best players have been their running backs, though. As we talked about there, the run game definitely something that we're highlighting here when we're talking about the UCF offense, and that is Miles Montgomery at running back. He's their highest graded player there with a 74 offensive grade on PFF. He's ran for over 400 yards already and 3 touchdowns. And then his running mate, Jaden Nixon, super explosive this season. He's one you got to watch. He's a home run hitter, averaging over 12 yards per carry for them here in the first half of the season, and he leads the team with 4 rushing touchdowns and has nearly 300 yards rushing of his own. Highest graded receiver is Charlotte transfer Dwayne Thomas Jr., which, funny enough, I know a little bit about because I played with Charlotte on College Football 25, and he was my go-to player. So when I see him on the UCF roster, I was like, hey, I know that guy. But 70 offensive grade for him, of course, according to PFF, and he leads the team in both yards and receptions. So those are some of the faces you'll see there on the UCF offense, including the new coordinator that's leading them. And we know Scott Frost has a hand in the UCF offense as well. But they've been pretty good thus far this season, especially when it comes to run the football. I think that's got to be West Virginia's main focus, is stopping the run in this game. And, I think we need a bounce-back performance from our defense coming off a couple of bad games before the bye week. Hopefully they've got some things corrected and righted the ship a little bit. But how are you guys feeling about this matchup here as West Virginia takes on this Golden Knights team, the Mountaineers defense led by Zach Alley going up against this UCF offense? What are your thoughts here, Steven?
I feel pretty good about this matchup. I think coming out of the bye week, I think that's a large part of what was hurting our defense was, a little bit banged up, but also a little, gassed for the most part for really not coming off the field for the better part of the first five weeks of the season. So I think the bye week will ultimately help them the most. So I'm excited to see how they keep us in the game. I think that ultimately that's going to be what gives us the best chance, probably to win the football game. So I look for them to play well. I'm excited.
I'm hoping so, man. I'm hoping to see some of that attacking Zach Alley defense. I think what we've really been lacking in these past couple of games, because, when we were early in the season, what we were really having success as we were getting to the quarterback. We were getting QB pressures, we were getting sacks, and of course turnovers. And we've still been doing a pretty decent job of the turnovers, but we got to do a better job getting to the quarterback, getting some pressures, getting some sacks. That's what I'm hoping to see. And like you said, coming off the bye week, I think we'll hopefully see them revert back to form and really get some things corrected. There's what I'm hoping to see. But Brad, what about you? What are your thoughts here on how the West Virginia defense matches up against this UCF offense?
Yeah, so just like when I'm looking at it, and to follow up on kind of what both of you guys were saying, and that, after a bye week, the defense should have rested. I completely agree. They're suffering from being gassed. There's just not a ton of depth that's been built up there yet. And I have confidence that that's somewhere it's going to build a lot of depth as we go forward with just the pieces we have in place coaching-wise. And so I think that seeing them progress and develop and get that edge back, like what Jordan was talking about with getting, some more pass rush going, is something we haven't seen in a little bit. And that also goes in tandem with one of the fastest offenses in the country that's been going nowhere, right? Like they've just been forced to play such quick, hard football, and they have shined in a lot of opportunities. So, and it sounds like, again, we're getting just a really good offense, and I think that's something we've consistently kind of ran into throughout the year. And I've had to try to deal with, and it's just worn them down. So you want to see after a bye week just some improvement, just some recouping, some more explosiveness that they haven't had, improved tackling preferably. That's just something that's struggled all year.
Absolutely.
So as you go along, you want to see these changes because that's just an indication of good coaching, which is what the last tenure taught me. Is you just didn't see anybody progress and get better. And you have a lot of young guys out there. You're focusing on the future. We've got to see development in the pieces that you have, and then you got to focus on keeping them in the off season. Which is a whole nother thing. But this is the place where you've got to just see some steady improvement, and defense has got the pieces to do it.
I agree. And I think like you both said there, I think that's a great point to hit on, is that hopefully they're coming out of this bye week rejuvenated and recharged after they, did get worn down, not only, game by game, getting worn down late in the games, but by the time they've played, 6 straight, we're probably a little worn down overall. So the bye week came, at a good time for them to get right. And hopefully we see one of their better performances here in this game, and we'll need it. We'll need to slow down that UCF run game, slow down that offense to have a chance to go out and win this football game, which hopefully we hope to see the West Virginia Mountaineers pull it off and do. But let's flip it over. Let's talk about the other side here. When West Virginia has the ball, talk about the Mountaineers offense against the UCF defense, which hopefully they found some things and really righted the ship as well during the bye week, because we know the offense definitely needs to do that. The positive side is they're coming off, prior to the bye week, a game where they put up 24 points on the road, which was a big improvement from their first 2 road games. So hopefully that bodes well for this road game coming off a bye week. But, I trust, Rich Rod and the staff to be able to scheme some things up. I think, now you get Khalil Wilkins, having a start on the road under his belt already. Scotty Fox got action in that game if he comes in this one also. Both those guys have played in a tough environment. I think that BYU atmosphere was probably tougher than what they'll see here at UCF, and that's no offense to the Knights. Just thinking out loud there a little bit about the difference in the atmospheres compared between UCF and BYU. So, there are some positives, I think, coming out of this bye week for the West Virginia offense if we're trying to look silver lining and such. But as far as how they match up, they'll be going up against the UCF defense that's led by new defensive coordinator Alex Grinch in his first season there. Of course, have a history with him, previous defensive coordinator at Oklahoma, among other places. Standout players for them, there's Edge Lawrence. He leads the team in sacks with 2. Then they have the linebacker Carter, who leads the team with 38 tackles. And then defensive back Bellamy has an interception. He's their highest graded defender at 78 overall on PFF there, and a 79 coverage grade. They are coming off a game where they held the Cincy ground game in check, which had been pretty explosive this past season, and they held Cincinnati to only 306 yards of total offense in what was, a strange little defensive game there that Cincinnati was able to pull out the win over UCF on. But how are you guys feeling about how West Virginia matches up on this side of things? Like we said, we know it's going to be the young guys in at quarterback, the young Dior Hubbard in at running back, it sounds like, as well. And, of course, hopefully get a good mix of Cam Vaughn in there, get him some touches, and see what the West Virginia offense can do against the UCF defense that's coming off a good game, but a game that was kind of hard fought, a little bit of a slugfest, whereas West Virginia had a bye week. That's maybe something that'll play into this also. But how are you feeling, Brad, about West Virginia's offense going up against this UCF defense following a bye week?
Yeah, man, this just comes back to this is the question mark, right? When I'm like talking about that we're just like an unknown, and that the element of surprise is, the best thing you could ask for. And we've seen athletic pieces. We've seen that we've got some pop in there and some fire, and Rich Rod's definitely got his guys in a don't quit mentality. And so that's just begs to see exciting football. Like, again, I'm almost coming back to the very beginning of the year when we're playing against Robert Morrison University, and I'm like, I just want to see turnovers and explosive plays. Like, I don't care if we lose a game. Like, show me that we can do it, make it happen, and those things can actually put you in a game more often than not. So, if you can just get one or two of those and show that you're capable of doing that, and I think that we perfectly are, even with a bad line, that would show a lot, and without that, it's going to be hard to start building momentum into the rest of the year with just the pieces that you got. So it's just back to basic. Can you do those two things?
I agree. I agree with you. And I think the one thing that gives me some hope is now, like you said there, that's what we've kind of been trying to do those first few weeks, was trying to find out who are the pieces, who are the guys that are going to be playing. And I think at this point they kind of have that answer a little bit. And now I think you got the bye week where Rich Rod had the time to say, okay, these are the pieces that I got. Now what can I scheme up for these guys? And hopefully we're going to get a good bit of that here in the back half of the season, starting with this game. So I'm expecting to see some good things from the UCF offense. I mean, not from the UCF offense, from our offense against UCF, rather.
Yeah, who would you guys say have stood out to you as guys this year, though?
I mean, I think that it's the young quarterbacks. A lot of the youth is probably what I'm focusing on, really. Hubbard's a freshman, Bowers is a sophomore, Fox is a true freshman, Khalil Wilkins is a freshman, Cam Vaughn's a sophomore, on down the line. I think those guys, to me, are the ones that are looking like, the potential future, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Cam Vaughn especially. I mean, I know he's made a few mistakes here and there, but I think for the most part, Cam Vaughn has been impressive in the way that he's able to go up and get the ball, especially when you compare him to, people that we've had in recent years. Since David Sills, we really haven't had anybody notable at a receiver,
100%. But I honestly come back to getting creative, and Rodney Gallagher is somebody that I would just like to see. Yep. Maybe you put him back there in the backfield if that gets real thin. Just because he's definitely got some pop to him. There's something there when he's got the ball in his hands, and I think that just got to happen more.
Yeah, I think, him, and I think now that Man's gone, I think we'll see more of Bowie, which we started to see a good bit of Gerard Bowie the past, couple games there before the bye week, but I think a good mix of both those guys. Maybe you find a way to put them both on the field at the same time as well. Some interesting stuff there. That's one thing I'm looking forward to watching in this game, is seeing what all they've schemed up here throughout the bye week, and some interesting stuff there on that side of the football. And I think the offense has a chance here in this one to hopefully move the ball and score some points. I mean, they scored 24 on a tough BYU defense, so let's hope they can get up into the 20s again in this one. I think they'll need to.
Yeah, I think so too.
So there's kind of our thoughts on that side for the most part, I guess. Steven, you got anything you want to add there as far as the West Virginia offense versus the UCF defense before we hit our key to victory and score predictions?
Yeah, I just think that I'm excited to see what they do out of the bye week. I'm excited to see what the offensive line plays like. Excited might not be the right word, but I'm curious to see what it looks like.
Curious, that's more fitting, I think.
But I don't know. I want to see good play in the run game, because like you said, we've got a lot of questions right there, but we've got a lot of pieces that could potentially make plays and have potentially made plays.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I think the offense has got a lot of question marks, especially with people stepping away and people getting hurt, and just all of the things that it's involved.
Yeah. It's weird to be coming out of the bye week here, going into, the 7th game of the season, and to feel like you have more questions than answers you were expecting to have, right? It's weird.
Yeah.
It's a weird season. A lot of injuries, a lot of unexpected things. Definitely, a strange season, but would love to have a positive end to what's been, tumultuous season, I guess you could say.
Yeah, no doubt.
And hopefully the offense comes out and performs well in this game and catches us all off guard, hits them with that element of surprise, as Brad was talking about. And we'll need a good performance from them in this game, which
That's what the fans need, honestly. That's what we need.
Absolutely, that's what the fans need, man. That's 100%. Let's talk key to victory here. How do we think West Virginia gets it done? What's it going to take to get it done here? As we got two teams coming into this game hungry for their first conference win. Somebody's got to emerge here with a Big 12 win. Let's hope it's the Mountaineers. But what's it going to take for them to get it done? That's our big question here as we talk key to victory. I'll lead this one off first since I've letting you guys take the floor here when we've talked matchups. I think for me, it's win the rushing battle. I think whoever wins the rushing battle in this game has a great chance to win it. We talked about UCF averaging 200 rush yards per game. I think West Virginia is at 206, so they're right around similar marks there. That's what both teams want to do on offense, and I think both defenses are going to set out to stop the run first and foremost, especially if it's Cam Fancher playing at quarterback for UCF. He doesn't have the same type of arm that Taven Jackson does, so West Virginia probably feels like if they can stop the run, they've got a good chance, and of course I think UCF probably feels the same way about the Mountaineers and the way they run their offense. So that, to me, is what I'm watching in this game, is who ends up winning that rushing battle. I think that whoever pulls that off has a great chance to win. So for the Mountaineers, Zach Alley's defense come out rejuvenated. Let's stop their rushing attack. And then, of course, Rich Rod's offense, let's scheme it up. Let's get our rushing game going and win the rushing battle. That's my key to victory in this one. Brad, what about you?
Yeah, I'm just going to go the way that I always go with some philosophical bullcrap, and I'm just going to say coaching, man. That's where it's at. That's what it all comes down to. You need one bad, Rich Rodriguez. Can you get your guys to take one more step in the right direction this weekend? And, like I said, surprise some people, win one. Maybe you shouldn't. Tougher place to play on the road in the Big 12. It's just you need one bad. So can you come out there and catch that element of surprise? So that's what it's going to take.
Yeah, for sure. That's what we need. We need some good coaching coming out of this bye week, and that's going to help us pull it off. So I like it. Steven, what do you got here? What's your key for the Mountaineers to pull this one off on the road on Saturday?
It's like I mentioned earlier. I think a lot of it has to come down to how well our defense is able to contain their quarterback, because he likes to scramble out to the outside a lot, improvise on plays, make plays with his feet. So if we can limit that, I think we've got a really good shot at keeping us in the ball game at least, and getting our offense a chance to make some plays, hopefully. So for me, it all comes down to how well our defense plays. If we can make tackles and we can get some turnovers, and keep them going 3 and out for the most part of the day, I think we'll be in good shape.
I like that, because when we were having success at times earlier in the season, that was kind of the recipe. The defense kind of carrying things a little bit till our offense got our footing at times and made some plays late in the game, and hopefully we can get back to that in this one. So I like that. I like that key a lot, which means it's time, gentlemen. It's prediction time. Coming back off the bye week, episode 235, our UCF preview and predictions, and we're to that latter portion now where we can talk our predictions, and then we'll wrap up making some picks here in our Around the Big 12 segment. So we talked about it throughout this episode. The storylines are going to be the coaches, both of them come back for their second stint. The other storyline is going to be both these teams winless in Big 12 play, looking for their first win. So the question is, gentlemen, who gets it? Who gets it done on Saturday? What's your prediction for this game as West Virginia takes on UCF in Orlando? What do you got for this one, Brad?
Yeah, so I was trying to recollect back on my preseason roundtable, right? I was very against away games. I was a homer the whole way. We were going to win home games but struggle in the away games, which has been true. Didn't think we would struggle at home as much as we have. But I just think the away games are tough, and I think that UFC is a tough place. UCF, I'm taking it to a whole different kind of fight here. Maybe that's what you need, man.
UFC style.
You need it to fight UFC style at the UCF, and the FCU and the UFOs. Anyway, but yeah, tough place. The bounce house is a really incredibly tough place to play, and ultimately it's going to come down to the coaching and who's got that grit in them. And I think you're going to get second half Rod, man. I think he's going to come through. It's the back end of the season. He's great off of bye weeks. I think that he's gonna do it. I'm gonna put my golden blue glasses on and just say, hey, let's come out. He's gonna get him right, come out with some pop, hit him in the mouth. And so I think ultimate score predictions. I think it's gonna be in the 20s. I'm gonna say 28-21. We'll even say a touchdown.
All right, I like it.
I believe
Brad
in
with the positivity to lead us off, man.
Surprise! Nothing surprises you more than a second half rod.
Yeah. That's right, and that's what we need. That's exactly what we need, and I love you throwing on the golden blue tinted glasses, like we like to say here for that picking a West Virginia win. And I think it's a game they have a great chance in, so I don't think it's far-fetched by any means. I think it's going to be a nice battle on Saturday. Steven, what about you, man? How are you feeling about this one? What's your prediction? The Mountaineers versus the Knights.
Actually feeling pretty positive about this one myself. I think like we said earlier, it's probably one of the most winnable games that we have left on our schedule, in the final 6 remaining games, as bad as that is, but it's reality. So I'm going to go ahead and pick us to win. I'm going to go 21-17 West Virginia. I think West Virginia gets it done. I think our defense does keep us in the game for most of the day. I think those 17 points that UCF gets is all in the first half, and then they come out in the second half and they shut them out.
Okay. I like that. Second half shutout for the defense and West Virginia getting the win. So, hey, 2 pieces of positivity and, in agreement thus far. Will we make it 3 for 3 with my score prediction is the question. And I'm not going to be too dramatic with this one because we're going to make it 3 for 3, boys. I'm in agreement with you guys. I think that West Virginia comes out of the bye week and gets it done as well. I think they got a great chance, and, maybe it's us trying to wish into existence, but damn, I'm tired of losing, and I'm tired of picking us to lose. So I'm not going to pick us this week, and hopefully West Virginia follows suit on their end and goes out and gets the win as well. And we get not only me picking a win, but we get to watch us win on the road as well. I think West Virginia can pull it off, and I think it's going to be close. Like you guys said there, you guys had it kind of lower. Brad mentioned it in the 20s. Steven had it, right around there at 21-17. I'm thinking similarly. I've got West Virginia pulling it off. I think a late drive and a game-winning field goal on the road. 27-24. West Virginia takes down UCF. So gotta love it, man. All 3 of us picking a West Virginia victory here on episode 235. Yeah. Let's hope it happens.
Truly the most unbiased opinions I've ever heard in my life.
yeah, we're not, we're not all wearing the golden blue glasses this week or anything.
Honestly,
positive coming out of the bye or nothing.
Honestly, I can say mine was unbiased. I've been unbiased for most of the year, other than one game specifically.
Yeah, I guess that is.
I don't know what's funny. I've picked us to lose, Brad. What's unbiased about that?
You're right.
Yeah.
I was just recollecting back.
That's true. We have
recollecting back to not 50 million to -3, or was that 50 -3?
Yeah. We're gonna get some of those on the live stream for sure.
Okay. Well, I've been silly with some picks, but I'm saying my real picks have been actually unbiased.
I was appreciating. I'm appreciating.
I did forget about those. I see what you mean, though. That is funny.
Yeah. The blocked punt.
I was like, what is he talking? What is funny? Like I picked us to lose every game pretty much, other than Utah, and that was just because.
Yeah. And then I came back and I was
Utah. I said, but my real pick is, I forget what it was.
Yeah, well, I think after real Utah, it was a lot more realistic about where we were at in general, and that was getting bent over.
Yeah, and like I said, looking at the schedule. Yeah. And as Steven mentioned, and we talked about throughout the episode a little bit, this does look like one of our more winnable opportunities. And when you look at that schedule and you think about us doing the show here, it's like, if I am going to pick us to win, this is probably the game I need to do it, because I don't know if I'm going to pick us to win that one. I don't know if I'm going to pick us to win, right now that's kind of how you're feeling, which hopefully maybe they change our minds about and put on a good performance.
I'm not going to spoil that for anybody, but
yeah.
Good.
let's get the positivity and keep it here while we can. That's what I guess what I'm trying to say. The good thing is we're all feeling good about this game, and hopefully that means it's a good thing for West Virginia on Saturday as well. Hopefully a little bit of positivity in the air bleeds out there and helps us. Like we said, even if we're trying to speak it into existence, maybe that helps manifest destiny. And we're all picking a West Virginia win in this one, but I think it's a good matchup against UCF. It should be a fun game to watch. So those are our thoughts there on that one. Now to get to our final segment, gentlemen, let's take a look around the Big 12, make our picks here in Week 8, as we got some other games happening around the conference to talk about, including one specific rivalry game.
My
It'll be
favorite
a game
segment,
of the week
bro.
this
I'm
week.
like undefeated. Like y'all, I shit on y'all in this.
He said I'm undefeated. This man ain't undefeated.
I'm undefeated,
nothing.
buddy. I haven't missed a pick in these yet.
Yeah, right. My ass.
Y'all
All
can't
right,
handle me.
gentlemen.
Y'all
I
can't
picked
handle me in
Delaware over
this.
Colorado. You know, I get fun with it.
I was about to say, sometimes we've
I
had
pick
some
with
wild
my
picks, so I
heart.
know no one's
I
undefeated.
pick with my heart.
Hey, this little
10 out of 10.
This little segment before we do this little segment, I got to talk to y'all after the show, like super quick about this shit I found out about, and it goes along with the trivia that we do.
All right.
All right, so anyway, go ahead.
Sounds good to me. All right. So let's roll through here. Week 8 in the Big 12 Conference. And we got a couple noon games here to lead off with. Let's start off with Arizona at Houston at noon on Fox Sports 1. Arizona's been better than I expected this season. Not going to lie about that. But I think that Houston playing at home has an advantage here. I like what Willie Fritz is building. I like the Houston defense. I think they find a way to win it. I'm going with the Cougars. Who you got, Brad?
Yeah, I like the Cougars too, man. I think that Willie Fritz is looking top tier. Like, definitely get some stuff going. I just like him over Arizona at the moment. At home, early in the day.
Yeah. Early kick in Houston. Tough place to play. Hopefully they get it done, as me and Brad are saying. Steven, are you in agreement?
I'll tell you what, I don't like the Cougars, but I am going to pick them to win. I'll tell you another thing. I've never seen Noah Fafita, Arizona's quarterback, play until the other day, I think. And I didn't realize this dude looks like his helmet is like, he looks like a little kid playing in an adult-sized helmet.
He's got a
Still
big
Houston.
helmet.
Anyway, Houston.
You know that they say about
Houston.
big helmets, right?
Big head.
Houston Cougs.
Big brain.
Go Cougs.
Go Cougs. We're all rolling with Houston in that one. Then you got one of the rivalry games this week. This one's not the game of the week, but this one should still be a barn burner and a hell of a game, and that's Baylor and TCU. Also at noon, playing in Fort Worth on ESPN2. Probably try to watch a little bit of this one before our game kicks off for sure. This one will be fun, man. Two of the nation's leading passers in Sawyer Robertson and Josh Hoover. So I think this one will definitely be entertaining. Who do you think gets the win here in this one, Steven?
Kind of tough for me to pick, but I think I'm gonna go with TCU. Home team. Like you said, it's a rivalry, so you really never know who's gonna win this game. Baylor's played some good ball this year and played some not so good ball this year. TCU.
Steven's going with
Going with my
TCU.
heart.
Brad, who you taking?
Maybe it's my gut. I can't tell.
Yeah, I'm digging the TCU too. I just like the home teams, especially in rivalries. I think it matters. So, yeah, it should be a fun one there to watch. I'm definitely there with you tuning into that one. I'll get a little bit of that on the way to work.
Hey, that's cool, because that's the first time this year I get to say, not so fast, my friends, because I'm rolling with the Baylor Bears in this one. Yes, they're on the road, but I think they're kind of hitting their stride a little bit. If their defense can, play, at least up to par the way they have in the past few weeks, I think they got a chance, because I think their offense can definitely keep up with TCU, Sawyer Robertson and company, Jake Spavital running things. Plus, I've got their tight end as my starter in fantasy, and one of their receivers is on my fantasy team as well. So if they win, it's probably good for me and my fantasy team. So we're going to roll with the Bears here. I'm going to pick Baylor.
Piece of shit.
Gotcha. Moving on here, we do have a 4 o'clock kick, 4 o'clock Eastern in Tempe. We have Texas Tech, the Big 12 prohibitive favorites. I mean, definitely looking the part thus far this season for sure. They're just outside the top 5 in the national rankings, but I think they look like a top 5 team in my opinion. But they'll hit the road to take on the Arizona State Sun Devils, defending Big 12 champs there on the road. That game will be played at Fox at 4 o'clock. Steven, who are you taking in this one?
I am rolling with Kenny Dillingham and the Arizona State Sun Devils.
Wow.
Yes, I am.
Okay.
I think this is one of the few times that Texas Tech looks susceptible. I think Arizona State is probably going to be playing with a vengeance for the rest of the season. If history repeats itself, they play like they did last year. So yeah, got the Sun Devils in Tempe.
Okay. All right.
Don't be
Steven's
surprised when it
rolling.
happens. Y'all
Steven's
always
going with the
surprised.
upset.
You're always surprised. Don't even ask me about the next game either.
Nah,
You know who I got.
I mean, that's cool. That's cool that you're going to try and pick that upset.
Even though they suck in my dynasty on college
it.
football right now, I'm gonna forgive them for that. Okay?
Well, I think it's a bold pick, and I like what you're doing, and I really enjoy you going out on a limb there. But you're wrong. You're wrong,
I've been bold
brother.
like 3 times this year. I've been right. 3
Well,
times
you're wrong this time, bro.
I'm a goat. I'm telling y'all.
You're wrong.
Y'all can't hang with my stuff in this. I'm just telling you. Like, just whenever we do this, just like Steven wants to pick, and then y'all just agree with me.
Colonel Sanders, you're wrong. Mama's right.
No, Colonel Sanders, you're wrong.
Because I'm gonna tell you what, Texas Tech's gonna win this game by at least 2 touchdowns. That's what I'm saying right here on the show right now. I'm rolling with the Red Raiders. I'm telling you, Texas Tech is my sleeper national champion team. You heard it here first. That's my sleeper national champion team. I think they're that good. Texas Tech with the defense is scary.
Yeah, and
Brad, what about you? How are you feeling?
Could you tell me that again? Hold on, I had to clean my shit out. Could you say that again?
Texas Tech's my sleeper national championship team.
Ooh, buddy.
Yep.
I love the optimism. Hope it happens for the Big 12. Don't know if it's going to happen. I think the Arizona State. I'm going to let you go in a second, Brad. Sorry. I thought Arizona State was good enough to go to the national championship game last year, and by all rights, they should have been. And that was a travesty. What happened in that game with that targeting call?
Yeah, it's true. They should have. That was a terrible
call. So that's why I don't see it happen. I don't think that they will let it happen. I'll say it like that.
I hope so, man. I hope that Big 12 gets it done. We'll see.
I do too.
Texas Tech looks good. Brad, what about you, though? Texas Tech, Arizona State, who do you got?
I mean, I definitely agree with Steven that, there's only a few times a year that Texas Tech is going to look weak. And it's not this week. It's in a few weeks when West Virginia plays them. No, give me Texas Tech, dude. I can't imagine what it's like to have so much money.
Yeah. They're good, man. They're really good, for sure. The Red Raiders, man. Watch out for them this season. That's my final thoughts.
The Raiders.
Which brings us to the nightcaps. The next game there will be our game of the week. We'll come back to that. Let's go Cincinnati at Oklahoma State in Stillwater. 8 o'clock kick on ESPN2. I mean, Cincy's gonna roll them. That's what I got to say about this one. Brad, what are you thinking?
No chance. Oklahoma State is still Oklahoma State, and Stillwater is still Stillwater. Those paddles are going to be thumping. That crowd is going to be bumping. They're going to show up for it, and I think that this is one that Cincinnati drops. I think it just catches them off guard, man. I just truly believe in it, and I think that there's going to be some magic down there in Stillwater this weekend.
Wow,
we got some upsets being picked here this week in the Round Big 12 segment. I like it. I like the upsets. I like people going out on a limb there. Brad going out on one, thinking 5-1 since he goes down to Oklahoma State and interim coach Doug Meacham. What about you, Steven?
Wow, Brad, with the optimism, it's kind of inspiring over here. I was going to pick Cincinnati, but now I think I'm probably still going to roll with Cincinnati because I don't like Oklahoma State's team at all. Give me Bearcats.
Yeah,
go Bearcats. Bob Huggins country, go Bearcats.
Since he rolls. All right.
I do like the optimism, though. I do like it. I really was inspired.
I do. I was, too. It was good. It was a good upset pick, Brad. Game of the week. Final pick here to make in the Around the Big 12 segment. Week 8. It's the Holy War. Gentlemen, Utah and BYU playing in Provo. 8 o'clock kick on Fox. Steven, do I even have to ask?
Nope.
I mean, I know who you're picking, right?
Moving on.
Yeah, I mean, Steven's taking the Cougars. We don't even really need to ask.
Cougars, baby.
Pick. You know where that's, it's going.
I forgive you. I forgive you for the ass whooping, okay? You guys forgave us for the ass whooping. It's just how it works. It goes hand in hand. You know what I'm saying? Handshake. Right. Handshake that's at the end of the day. For an
eye for an eye, I believe. That's
eye for an eye. No hard feelings. We get it. You know what I'm saying?
It happens. So, Steven obviously rolling with BYU. Brad, how are you rolling here on this one, Utah or BYU? The Holy War, a game that has Big 12 championship contender complications with it as well.
Yeah, not a big Utah stan myself, so BYU.
Yeah. And, man, I'm going to tell you guys what, as much as I think Utah has a really good team this year, I'm not picking them either. So, I mean, we're all just going to take BYU in this one because I'm picking the Cougars also in the game of the week.
Let's go. Bear Bachmeyer, Tiger Bachmeyer all the Bachmeier family. Yeah, go BYU.
Which I should add, we've also all been mandated by Steven. We're not allowed to pick Utah. We have to speak positively of BYU. So that's why we all three definitely took BYU for sure. But, go Cougars.
100%.
I paid them.
Yeah.
I paid them all
us off.
$50 to say those things about BYU.
Yep.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
You're welcome,
The check
Mormon
is-
fans.
The check is still in the mail, right?
Yep.
Yeah, it's in the mail. Yeah.
It's in the mail. It's in the mail. I'm waiting on it. All right, gentlemen. I guess that'll pretty much get ready to put a bow on this one. Appreciate you guys tuning in, whether you watch the video version here on YouTube or you listen to the audio version on any podcast platform. If you listen there on the audio side, leave us a rating. That helps us out. Here on YouTube, hit that thumbs up button. That helps us out. Be sure you're subscribed to the channel. And shout out to our friends over at wvsportsnow.com for hosting our episodes on their website as well. We appreciate that. Let us know your key to victory. Any thoughts you have on the matchups in the comment section there. We appreciate those interactions also. With that being said, gentlemen, any final thoughts before we put a bow up and wrap up here, episode 235, our UCF preview and predictions. You got anything, Brad?
I just want it to be exciting.
Yeah. Let's get some excitement. Let's get some excitement out of the bye week. It's well said. Steven?
Yeah, a lot of that. Yeah, I just want it to be exciting. I want there to be things to look at that we can touch on in the post game show that we can be excited about moving forward.
Yeah, that's what this game can do. It can give you some optimism for the rest of the season for sure, and I think this has a great chance to build that. Coming off a bye week, let's take that advantage. Let's use it to our advantage, and let's go out. Let's get a win. Let's make something happen, and then see what happens in the back half of the season. You never know. I still trust this coaching staff. Still feel like there's good players in this team. So let's go out. Let's root for them, and let's hope West Virginia can get a road win on Saturday. Somebody is coming out of this game with a Big 12 win. Let's hope it's the Mountaineers. My final thoughts here on that one. For Brad and Steven, as always, I'm Jordan Cruz. We'll talk to you guys after the game, and let's go Mountaineers.
If you really want to know, then come on, let's go. Take a stroll down those